Alright, yesterday dressed all nice for you guys. Now I'm here rocking my girlfriend Snuggie. And why is that, friends? Because today we are talking about the top 10 worst movies of 2023. Or as everyone else likes to call the fun list. Everyone loves to hear me rant about these suckers. Before I get into the list though, once again, just gonna make some quick points for you guys. Number one, keep in mind, I did not see every movie that got released in 2023, although here I apologize for nothing. And that's the other thing I will get into right here. I will say the bottom third of this list for you guys, it's not so much movies that were terrible, they're more so movies that disappointed me, if nothing else. Because really, ever since 2020, I have gone even further out of my way than I already did to avoid shitty movies just for the sake of my own mental health. So yeah, really you can make a case. The bottom third of this list, more so disappointments than they were bad movies. Also, the other point to make is these will not be in-depth reviews. These will just be my quick points why these movies were on the list. If you want to see my more in-depth reviews, you can go to my channel. You can search them there. And finally, most importantly, once again, all film is subjective. My list is not the right list. This is my personal list. If you enjoyed these movies, hey, that's totally fine. Once again, this is the time here I get to be completely biased and subjective, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. Alright, disclaimers have been made. Now let's get this over with. So number 10 is a movie that I knew was going to be stupid, but I also thought was going to be funny, entertaining, but no, it was mostly just stupid. That's Cocaine Bear. I can appreciate what the movie was going for. I mean, the idea, the premise really of a black bear that does cocaine and goes on this murderous rampage, that sounds like it should be entertaining. But really, the movie just beats you over the head with how addicted the bear becomes to cocaine to the point where it stops being funny and it just kind of gets really ridiculous. None of the characters in this movie I gave a shit for. Even the ones that you're kind of supposed to hope live through the whole thing, I never cared. It's bloody violence, but not in the fun way you kind of expect. Some people crack jokes and some of the humor hits, most of it doesn't. There is absolutely an audience for this movie out there somewhere. I'm just not part of that audience, and I probably never will be. Number 9 is a movie that I was surprisingly a lot nicer to in my review, but I have to be honest, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Mania has to be on here. Okay, so if you remember in my review, I said that Jonathan Majors' performance as Kang the Conqueror is what makes the movie, it's what makes the movie worth watching. Unfortunately though, recently Jonathan Majors has gotten himself into some serious legal trouble. He has been fired from the MCU, so he's no longer going to be a part of Kang the Conqueror. We don't even know if Kang's going to be a part of the MCU anymore. So with that, once again, the MCU feels directionless, and also I look at Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania and I say, okay, what can you offer outside of Kang? The answer? It's not much. The MCU humor in this, okay, granted, not as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder. It's still getting a little too silly and a little too ridiculous. I really don't like how it's no longer special to be a superhero in these movies anymore. Really, somebody has to have a gimmick. Somebody has to be good at something. It's no longer special to be the titular hero in a Marvel movie. Some of the action's fun, but none of it stands out in ways a lot of iconic action scenes from the MCU have. Also, MODOK, completely wasted character in this movie. I don't like him. I don't think there's a soul out there who saw this movie that does like him. It's not the worst we've gotten from the MCU. I'll touch more on that in a minute, but it also doesn't inspire a lot of hope for the future. Next at number 8, we have Silent Night. John Woo is hailed as this iconic action director, and frankly, he very well might be. I can also appreciate that he tried to go for a very unique premise in essentially making a silent movie that was also an action movie. The movie tried to be original, and I'll give it that, but it did not stick the landing. I mean, there would be no dialogue in this movie. It was really hard for me to get on board with Joel Kinnaman as this hero. It was also very hard for me to believe that he just became this badass over the course of the year, capable of taking these guys out. Emotional tone, the emotional sort of family setting I tried to go through, and the family tragedy that hit the main character, it didn't really strike me as hard as it could have. The villains in this movie don't say anything. I don't really know what they do, what they're a part of, why they're here. And hell, even the action in this movie, none of it's super fun or super memorable. It was just action for the sake of an action movie. I kind of feel like it tried to be the new Die Hard in the sense of making a new action Christmas sort of movie, but ultimately this movie just died kind of hard. You know, I had real hope that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was going to resurrect Indiana Jones. It didn't. James Mangold is a spectacular director. I'm not taking anything he's ever made away from him, but I really do question how much influence he had over this movie and how much influence maybe Disney had over this movie. I mean, Harrison Ford, his portrayal of Indiana Jones, he just feels like this grumpy, bitter old man that didn't even want to be a part of this adventure, part of this journey. His goddaughter was the worst character I've seen in a movie this year. One of, for sure. I couldn't stand her. Just unlikable, full of ego, was trying to be funny, but was just annoying. The movie's CGI'd all over the damn place. It completely lacks the magic that made Indiana Jones special. Generic villains, people cheating death even more so than they did in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that is fucking saying something. I guess I'll say that much. This movie actually made me go back, revisit Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and be like, oh, you know, it wasn't that bad. I don't know if that's really a compliment or a detriment. Probably more of a detriment. Did anyone see that Sebastian Maniscalco movie that we got earlier this year? Like, what was the name of that movie? Like, Meet My Bad Father? About My Father. Yes, that was the title of this movie. See, I don't even remember the title of this movie. You almost feel like the wave now for these stand-up comedians ever since Pete Davidson made his movie has been, hey, let me take my comedic act that I have in my stand-up and let me turn it into a movie. And yeah, you know what? It worked for Pete Davidson. Doesn't mean it's gonna work for everybody. The movie really wasn't funny. It was more awkward when it really was trying to be funny. Robert De Niro, Sebastian Maniscalco, I did not buy into their chemistry whatsoever. We wanted you to feel for this character and feel like there was a family forming here, but there is no heart. I've been told Sebastian Maniscalco is actually very funny, and you know what? Maybe as a comedian he is, but as an actor, well, I don't think he should quit his day job. Yeah, AntMan had his struggles earlier this year, but the Marvels, that's the one that's gonna make people lose faith in the MCU completely. Nobody on planet Earth was asking for a sequel to Captain Marvel. No one cared. Brie Larson, does she even want to be a part of this franchise at this point? I mean, I really don't feel like she cares that much about the character Captain Marvel, really cares about this franchise. It has the most generic, forgettable villain in the entire MCU. I can't even remember what this bitch's name was. That's when you know it's bad, when you completely forget an MCU villain. There's not one remotely fun action scene or moment that's really iconic that I'm gonna remember from this movie. Too many awkward moments in the movie too. I mean, they have the one scene where they go to the planet and everybody sings, little kittens that eat everybody. I'll give Iman Vellani credit. She does a really good job as the young Miss Marvel, how she's taking it being a part of this team. I could tell she was having fun. I could tell she cared, but it's just not enough to really save a sequel that nobody was looking forward to. You guys remember when dinosaur movies were cool? Yeah, 65 makes me wish for those days too. Adam Driver is a phenomenal actor. I have seen him be great in so many different movies. But really here, it doesn't look like he cared. It doesn't look like he believed in the project. He's like, yeah, I gotta go out there and hunt dinosaurs. Yeah, cool, I'll get my check. I mean, this movie's directed by the writers of A Quiet Place. I mean, I don't know if you've seen A Quiet Place, but nobody even talks in those movies. I mean, how much great writing was really needed for that movie? Not trying to take away anything they did there, but what made you think those writers would be cut out to direct a movie like this? The movie's not remotely scary, it's not remotely thrilling. The chemistry between Adam Driver and that young girl, it did not exist. Yeah, the Jurassic World series of movies made me believe that Jurassic Park was dead. Now maybe dinosaur movies are too. Not just dinosaur movies, they've been trying to get shark movies right for a long time. Yeah, Meg 2 The Trench was just dumb. The first Meg was also dumb, but it was fun, it was enjoyable. There was stuff you could get through and look past and just have fun with. But in this movie, when Jason Statham is just, you know, 30,000 feet underwater and just clears his sinuses and can move freely through the ocean, give me a fucking break. The movie believes, oh, one Meg in the first movie was great. You know what's better than this one? Let's get a bunch of Megs in there and they'll terrorize a bunch more people and everyone will love it more. It's like Hollywood, have you ever heard of the word stop? Like, less is more sometimes. We also tried to throw in a bunch of other prehistoric creatures that probably don't exist anymore to try to up the stakes in this one. It's like, we didn't need more. I'm pretty sure right after I watched this movie, I came home and I watched Jaws just to reminisce on what a great shark movie actually is. Steven Spielberg captured lightning in that bottle one time. Evidently, it's not going to be recaptured again with movies like this. Okay, I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for having this movie high up on my list, even on the list. Look, guys, I don't care if you're a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's. This movie did not do it for me because it's not fucking good. A horror movie based off a horror video game was destined for failure. And yeah, I know, it made its money at the box office, but that doesn't mean it's a good movie. Josh Hutcherson plays the worst excuse for a security guard, really for an older brother I can remember in these fucking movies. The blonde bitch who played Beck in the You show, she's the worst excuse for a security guard there is. It's like the whole time you look at her, it's like, you fucking know something. Say it. Save lives. And she does nothing. The movie tries to hit you with a big old clever twist in the end that anyone with half a brain would see coming. It's not even remotely frightening. It's not even like a bloody, gory, fun time. The movie was PG-13, so you know it's scaled back all the way in terms of what it can do. Even tone-wise, the movie's all over the place. It tries to hit you with a joke at one point that's supposed to be funny, but you're kind of just sitting there like, are you just gonna ignore something that's obviously very raw and weird? I mean, a fucking large animatronic live bear is in the back of your cabin. You're gonna say nothing? Like, I don't know, that just seems a little bit weird to me. At one point, the animals take a break from all the killing and they build a fort with the main characters. Like, what is that? Five Nights at Freddy's succeeded as a video game, and unfortunately Hollywood's now going to believe because it made money that it succeeded as a movie, and it's gonna get a sequel, and that sequel might unfortunately be even worse. God help us all. And here we are, my number one, the worst movie of the year, by far and away the worst movie of the year. Like, I had to take breaks in between watching this movie to get through it. That's right, guys, the worst movie of 2023 was without a doubt Peter, Pan, and Wendy. If anyone really asks you what's wrong with Disney, why Disney's fallen off such a cliff, just show them a movie like this. It takes everything that's just nice and charming and delightful about the original Peter Pan classic and just face fucks it into the ground. None of the kid actors in this movie are going places anytime soon. I mean, the little kid actor who plays Peter, he's a fucking dick. He's a little asshole. The girl who fucking plays Wendy, she's just abrasive, ridiculous girl who can somehow sword fight immediately better than all these pirates. Hell, half the Lost Boys in this fucking movie were girls. Don't even get me started on that shit. Jude Law's in this movie as Captain Hook. Does he look like he cared to be here? Not at all. Even Neverland itself, it didn't look like anything like a place a little kid wants to leave their life behind and go there to never grow up. It was dull, it was boring, it just, nothing about it looked magical or special. Once again, this is the epitome of Disney just running out of original ideas, so they take a beloved classic, put a modern twist on it so they can deliver the message, and it fails. That's the red flag I should have noticed right there. The fact that this is a movie that got released directly to Disney Plus should have told me right there that the studio knew it was going to be a failure. I am done with any and all Disney live action adaptations they attempt to make. I am done with any original movie that gets placed onto Disney Plus. I am damn near done with Disney Plus in general, guys. I'm fucking serious. If this is the kind of content that you're putting on your fucking streaming service, maybe I just shouldn't have the streaming service at all. Maybe I should just do what normal people do, buy the Blu-rays of the movies that I love, and fuck the streaming service. Some people in my life may not be happy if I make that decision, but you know what? It might be for the best if we're getting shit like this. And there you go, guys. That's my list for the top 10 worst movies of 2023. Hope y'all had fun with it, just watching my misery and having to talk about all this again. But with that, we now leave 2023 in the past, so now I leave it to you guys. Don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of this list. Let me know some of the movies that you really hated this year. Be on the lookout in a couple more days as we move into 2024, and I will talk about my list for the top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. Until then, you all have a very safe, fun, and happy new year with your friends, your family, your loved ones. And until then, leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all next time.